Miss there. Welcome back to another episode of To Be Fair. I think episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
And today we decided we're going to be talking about Australian rules football.
I'm so excited.
AFL, the Aussie sport.
Such an Aussie sport.
The
best.
I guess it's a bit different in the sense that it's not necessarily talking about the brand experience.
I don't see how this will come up.
Yeah, because there's no Indian AFL players to my knowledge. So,
too busy studying.
Yeah, so I guess we were briefly talking about AFL when we kind of went for that walk the other day. And
yeah.
I kind of mentioned that for many years I boycotted AFL. And I just stopped watching.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
And exactly, don't know why. So I thought we'd maybe even talk about it, and then maybe this could be an educational thing for you just to tell me what's actually going on, or maybe me to kind of describe and maybe be like, oh, boycotting.
Yeah, well, that's my first question to you. Why did you stop, and when?
Yeah, well, I can't say I was like this amazing hardcore AFL fan.
Even though you've got the beanie.
Got the power to win.
Oh, you know the song still. Oh,
come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
easy. That's all you need.
Look, I was definitely into footy, and I enjoyed footy. You'd watch all your power games, you'd watch the games. But it got to a point where I didn't like a lot of the things surrounding footy. So not necessarily the game, and not necessarily the players, but I guess the culture, the AFL culture, where, a lot of the people that I knew of that were really, really hardcore AFL fans, and, really Ocker, really Australian, were the kind of people that were, for example, racist or, had kind of, and so it got to the point where I'm like, how are we just celebrating all this? And, we're not questioning it. We're not talking about it, where there were so many issues happening that I just decided as a personal thing that I don't want to be involved in this, and the only thing that I could do at that time was to stop watching.
Wow.
And so I just stopped watching, and so that was probably 2013 maybe.
Yeah.
I just stopped, and so I'll watch a game here and there, and I love it. Like, it's exciting.
It's the best sport in the world.
Like, it'll be on. I'm like, oh God, I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying myself. So, I'm hoping really that you can talk me out of this boycott.
Yeah. I feel like the game can do that itself. I mean, like I said, the game itself will take any boycott out.
The game's fine, but I think, like
so
we're talking about.
Sorry. Go.
No, but I just mean, like we're talking about the Cubby Cushy Cubby Gum one, where I don't think we can just be passive viewers and ignore everything else. And that's why I stopped, because I'm like, there is so much racism and so many problems within the overarching culture that I can't consciously be okay with, being another supporter of this.
Gotcha. So do you still watch football games?
Like soccer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So the skinhead supporters in soccer?
Yes. But
replicate it.
No, but yeah, I think that though is a very small, but it's a portion.
Same here.
Maybe now.
And I can give you the example.
Maybe now, because I haven't seen it in a long time. But at least back then, it was, the Australian culture of like, grow up here. Like, is this banter? Like, that's just the Australian way.
Very masculine.
Like the masculine, the racism, like it was part of it. And now obviously it's coming out with the Collingwood, internal issues with the racism,
that's what I'm
with,
saying.
Adam Goods, like everything else. It's obviously an issue.
Yeah, and Goods was the first one, I think. Goods basically, Adam Goods, he basically got booed out of the game.
Yeah.
Which, like, I'm not paraphrasing, pretty much. One of, like, an all-time great player for many years, stood up. He didn't really do anything. He just wanted to celebrate his own Indigenous heritage during a game with, like, a war cry. And I think he called, when he was on a boundary getting the ball, some girl like yelled at him, called him a name or something.
Like the racist thing, yeah.
So then from then on, he kept getting booed. And it was such an interesting thing to watch, because every TV talk show would be like, why is he getting booed? Why is he getting booed? And the consensus was at the time was like, oh, because he's such a good player, you know, you always want to boo the good players in the team, and then I think someone was like, come on, it's pretty obvious why he's getting booed. People are just racist. And so I think the guy you don't like, Waleed, he went out and I still remember this because it was a long time ago. He said that everyone in the sport, they like you, they like the Indigenous players, Aboriginal players, they like you, they celebrate your talents, your skills, but they want you to stay in that box. Soon as you come out and say something against it, it's like, no, go back. He said that pretty much word for word in an interview. And I was like, that's probably the most apt description of what happened. Since then, obviously racism continues, like in society, especially with social media now. It is getting better. It's much better. There's still racists out there. There always will be, every sport. Yeah. But that whole
it's not an overall culture though.
No, it's definitely it's just like the skinheads in football.
Okay, so like, it's gotten a bit better now then.
If anything, I think it's better in here because I watched some Europa League. Oh, sorry, no, Europa League, Champions League games, and you take the knee in England, applause. Go to some other country, take the knee, and their supporters are just booing you, and you're like, why are they booing? And then a lot of people are like, no, they're booing because they don't believe you should just take a knee for it. It's like the good things. Like, why are they booing? It's pretty obvious. They're just racist. We just haven't got that conversation started there. So it is much better. Another guy called Eddie Betts. Don't know if he was playing probably when you were watching. He's been vilified many times, throwing bananas on the ground. And he was the first guy while he was playing to say, he was like calling out people on social media like, hey, look what this person posted, started advocating against it. He never gets booed. He retired this year, never been booed for it. So there's been that's a massive shift because if when Goods did that, massive booing. Betts did that. I know he's a lovable character and everything, but Goods wasn't a bad guy. So different shift there. It's obviously not going to be great. Like we mentioned, the Collingwood thing was horrible. Still going on. The Adelaide one we saw.
I saw even interviews from Indigenous players coming out from Collingwood saying, actually no, it was racist. I faced it every day I was in the locker room. Yeah.
And we're just so shocked. Everyone's so shocked. Like, how is that possible?
I think that also goes out. We talk about the same sort of things, but we were talking about the implicit versus the explicit and the overt stuff where just locker room talk and everyone's having a good time. It's not really, we don't mean anything by it, but to that person, it's a big deal and it's an issue. You can't just ignore it being like, that's just the culture of the team.
Exactly. Well, I can't speak for in locker because I don't play footy and obviously don't sit in the AFL rooms, but it is, I don't imagine that goes on anymore because it would be called out.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, and Collingwood, that guy called out, I think, just as when he left the club because he knew if I call him out now, my contract's gone. There's also got to think about that. But I know, especially in the crowd, it's much better. Just in the normal sitting down, you see if anyone makes any racist comments, text this number.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's at every game now. Usually antisocial behaviour is when you call it out, so someone's swearing or not. But people get angry to support the team in the game, right? You feel hot, you feel heated. But if someone just goes, for an example, oh, you idiot, why don't you catch the fucking ball? Compared to, you black motherfucker, why don't you catch the ball? Bang, there'll be 5 people texting. That's definitely getting out of AFL. I know in the other smaller leagues, it's probably still there. Because people are still there, and it's harder to call out there.
Well, it's good to know that things, are changing for the better.
I'm not saying it's great now, but it is. Well, since a good,
I'm not following footy, so I watch catch, it religiously. I only catch little clip bits in the news and stuff. Yeah. But even recently, I saw, the AFL player having to apologise, and it was a whole thing. And
he was the captain of the club. Oh well, he was a captain before, but he is basically the captain of the club as well.
Right. So the captain of the club made a racist kind of thing.
Yeah. He was at a lower league game, which is in the crowd, and he said something to basically someone in his own organisation, but who's a younger player. And then he saw that horrible video of him apologising, and that to the player. The player was like, "It's okay." Yeah, he's like, "No."
But even I didn't know who that was, a captain or whatever. But even just watching that,
huge figure.
That was recent. So
that was this year.
In my head, I'm like, this boycott is still worthwhile because even if the players themselves are having to apologise to other players in their own team or whatever for being... It just seemed like this culture is so strong and not changing after all these years, but obviously I guess it is changing.
Yeah, it is. But the fact that he had to probably come out and do that, and I'm not sure on the specifics, but he hasn't been... They're thinking about ending his contract.
Oh, really?
Like, genuine... he plays for your rivals, Adelaide.
Oh, Adelaide.
Yeah. Genuine gun player, like one of the best forwards. A bit older, but like because of this, and he was cancelled for all the games. He wasn't able to play at all afterwards. So I know a lot of people, like, maybe his response might have been he came out at the heat of the moment. But if that's coming out, that's what your true nature is, right?
Yeah.
And then he realised that, and then he's made those apologies. But it's basically done for him. He'll always be tarnished with that. Well, so it is much better.
That being AFL level. To be fair,
good
on a absolute. We should make this a thing every time. It's like a to be fair moment one. Or like,
everyone in my life, whenever I talk to them, they always say it. I'm like, I was looking at them, but they don't know. They just keep talking.
No, but to be fair, I think, and this is tangent. We'll talk about this somewhere else. But just because he, said a racist thing or was racist, I don't think that means he will forever be racist. No. I think there's opportunity to change and grow and develop, and I don't think. Again, tangent, not related to this, but like just shunning him forever, being like, you are a racist, and that's your label now. I think that's problematic as well.
That's probably not going to happen. I'm just saying that.
No, but I guess the cancel culture of like, you can't support, you can't do this because he's a bad person or this. It's like, I think we should allow people to grow.
I was going to say that cancel culture is not in AFL because someone can literally, an ex-Adelaide player as well, can literally screw his captain's wife at a barbecue and then be the head media personality after a few years.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What?
You know Wayne Carey?
Yeah. Is that... He did that?
So he was at the Kangaroos. I don't know the full story. I think... So he was at the Kangaroos. One of... Like the goats of football. I loved Wayne Carey when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I loved him. He had a barbecue, the whole team barbecue, and so he decided to screw at the captain's house, and he decided to screw his missus at that barbecue.
Yeah, right.
They all found out. He had to move to Adelaide, I think. I think that was part of it, to run away as well. And now he's like on Channel 7 all the time.
There you go. So I feel like I've heard...
Sport is different, and it's very interesting. Shane Warne is another one.
I feel like I've heard stuff about...
Wayne Carey.
But not even... Like, I've heard, like... I don't know. I don't want to...
There's probably more.
Allegedly, there's other stuff that he's involved in terms of, whatever it might be.
I don't know.
I don't want to say it, but I'm pretty sure... Because I've seen... Anyway, but that's...
So, when you mentioned the cancel culture, if you're a good enough sportsman, doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Shane Warne.
But I think especially, though, within the Australian context, because I think Australians have that thing of like, get over it, like, grow a pair, you just get over it, it's just...
Yeah, that seems like a different point. That just seems like someone gets injured or something.
But I think that's because that Australian culture of like, it's fine. Don't be such a little snowflake about it. Like,
yeah, so obviously when this stuff happens, there's always that people will come out and say, it's just a one comment, like, get back on your high horse. It's just, like, he can say one thing, it's not a big deal, you little snowflakes. Yeah, that happens as well. But the majority of it now is just like, anytime racism is mentioned, it's horrible, it should never happen. Why is it still happening?
I think it's interesting in terms of your comment of, I guess I missed what the Wally Dali thing, but I think that's interesting because, when I used to watch and, Port Adelaide, all the good, they're all good players, but, all the players that were the players back in the time, not just in Port Adelaide, but in all the teams, were Indigenous.
Yeah, they had a certain skill set that the white players don't have.
Yeah, like, Gavin Wanganing, everyone was Indigenous. And even now I see there's still, a lot of Indigenous players. There's even like a lot of, I guess, from Africa and stuff. And so... Yeah,
they're getting a lot of people from like Sudan and there's a couple of players now. Because I think that, you're right. It's always that's what I'm saying, like the Waleed things, like you have such an amazing skill set, but as soon as you step out of that and start talking
that's something interesting that's...
Go back. I'll link you it. It's like
he does some good takes, but
I know you don't like him, but it's
I don't not like him. I just think
he's a very good comment what he mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
About it. So it has definitely changed.
Okay, so I should start because I guess it's off season now. So should I
perfect time
prepare and get ready for the next season?
Research your team. Adelaide are doing very good, annoyingly.
Yeah,
got a heavy Channel 7 backing from Kosh. So I think it's out of all, actually, compared to soccer again, just the fact that you get booed for taking the knee.
I think that's a different thing though.
No, but it's so
I feel like
bad.
people,
it's so bad.
Yeah, but I think people are just, you know.
I guess that's another thing of Australian rules football. It's Australian, right? It moves from state to state, but it never leaves the country. And I hope it never does. On an off tangent, by the way.
It doesn't really get out of Victoria, really. Like everywhere else, I feel like they're more interested in rugby. Yeah,
so Victoria, Adelaide, huge footy, two-town, Perth, two-town team. Yeah, any two-town team. Brisbane, Sydney, they're the strongholds that they're trying to get rid of for NRL. But I hope it never leaves, because it feels so rural still as a game, even though it's like 2021. You see, like, for instance, like soccer and football, like people going for 200 mil. And AFL, you don't pay a player to move. You just offer the other club a draft pick and they come. Like, it's still so basic, but that's why I love the game as well. You feel like it's your own.
Yeah, I think you don't need to worry about it.
I hope it doesn't.
Taking over the world and becoming a global
because
sport.
They played in Port Adelaide, started playing in China.
It's all a money
they're taking it to India. Yeah. I hope it doesn't.
I don't think it's going to...
I think the skill set's too hard for everyone to pick up.
I also think, if we're actually complete, like, football, soccer is just a better sport in general. Like, it's...
No, AFL is the best sport in the world. And I'll have a debate right now with you. It is the best sport in the world. Sport. I'm saying sport. I'm not saying well-run organisation. I'm saying sport.
I don't know.
360 degrees. First of all, rugby you can only pass forward.
Sure.
Soccer you can only use your feet.
Yeah.
Football, sorry, pissing everyone off.
Sure.
AFL is just everything. They run 13 kilometers a game, and then they crunch into men at full speed.
Oh, that's like
and women, because there's
separate
AFLW
in
as well.
itself. That's like
that's changed as well. There's a women's league now since you stopped watching.
And that was a big reason. I'm like, interesting. Things are changing. Yeah, I wonder if they're changing in terms of race as well. But
it is.
But also like even in saying that, like, it's the best sport because it's real men and we like hit each other and there's no helmets and there's like like many issues. Sport. There are long like concussions and long-standing like. What are you talking about?
The concussion protocol has been brought in
now. Now it's getting better.
But sport
before it's like, is this a bit of a knock? No, it's not a knock.
Yeah, okay, that's different.
What are you talking about?
I mean, nowadays it's very different. Like, if someone gets knocked on the head, they do like have to stop and just check for 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's good, and that's
Yeah, that's changed. But the sport, I'm saying the sport is just incredible. The fact that you can.
As a side note, like I was doing a bit of research at junior AFL games.
See, this is why it'd be interesting when you.
Yeah, I was doing research at junior AFL games, looking for that concussion protocol. In terms of how many injuries are there, who's wearing a helmet, all that sort of information.
That's really interesting.
Actually. But even there, like junior 8s, 9-year-olds, like that junior, and the kids that are actually good, and then their parents. You can see that culture that I guess I was boycotting in terms of like, it's so prevalent even at that age where the dad's kind of like getting all awkward and like, this and that and
yeah, of course you have to have some sort of aggression to play the game.
Then, even at that young, then how is it gonna? No, but aggression to a certain extent because even in the crowd when I'm doing injury data, you can hear
some stuff.
Yeah, people are talking and saying stuff, and it's like
you hear worse things at those games because there's no $15,000 fine.
Well, that's what I mean. So even at that bottom thing,
yeah.
Anyway, is this one of those
that's
things?
An all sport. I mean, junior soccer would have the same thing here.
Yeah.
Tennis, probably even worse.
Probably not worse.
But no, because it's some parents are just horrible, like helicopter parents.
Yeah, sure, but I'm still in the belief that there's something about. And maybe I'll watch. Maybe I'll watch the next season and see Port win the premiership again.
You might. I mean, you guys are doing well.
Oh,
but you guys are choke artists. So you probably won't.
But yeah, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe we'll
You should, man.
Reassess this.
Yeah, because I still.
To be fair, season 2.
Yeah.
And
oh wow, yeah, seasons. I like that. Because it's episodes. Smart. So yeah, I. Don't know if I learned anything. I just know that
I just wanted to be fair, hot take number 2, 3, 4. I just wanted to hear about it because I think in a selfish way, I've just stopped. And so I thought, are things changing? And I wonder for our what is it, 7 subscribers now, hopefully?
No, still 5.
5? I thought there was 6.
No, it's only 5. No one else apart from people we know.
Well, for the 5 subscribers, I wonder, like...
3.
You know, what's your thoughts on the AFL? Like, or is it something that you haven't really... I wonder, I don't know.
I don't know if any one of our subscribers actually watches apart from me.
Right. I don't know. I just feel like I see how we even treat our Indigenous First Nations people, and it's like,
of course,
if we can't even sort that out, how are we going to sort all this? Like, there's so many things.
A lot of people think that if those people speak out when they play AFL, that can raise a lot of... It's like that Bollywood thing I mentioned in the last episode. You put it on a platform where a lot of the audience is. So like we have Eddie Betts talking about the Indigenous culture. A lot of people will learn more because he's on every TV screen at 7:30 p.m. on a Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah, for sure. And more power to him if that's what he's doing. Like, educate, even the co-host. Like, sometimes this Australian TV, every Australian is so problematic. Like, even the little comments they say. But anyway, that's
I think we another episode.
Yeah, that's just... But AFL,
give it a try.
What are your tips? Who's the next season? Who do you have?
Well, I think Melbourne will win it again.
Melbourne again?
That was good fun to watch this season. I stand by it's the best sport. Those 6-7 months you get.
I keep saying bliss. Comment below, but no one comments below. No one's watching.
Comment on Toctic if you want.
Yeah, whatever. Well. So,
or just message us. Be like, hey, that was good.
Add us as a friend. We're not. I did. We're just having a conversation.
Was like, I love your intro, and I'm like, geez, man, I did it all. Yeah, it's light work.
So
no. Big shout out to the person who made the intro, along with you as well. Anyway, that's 22 minutes. I think that's probably enough for AFL. But I think, all I really want, and I hope eventually we'll get, is some healthy discussion in the comments, or something. I just, because I'm not saying I have all the correct thoughts, and I'm definitely saying you don't have the correct. AFL is the best sport, but I think I do have the correct.
We would elicit some sort of conversation, and everyone can grow and just understand and try and be better for the next set of kids in the under 9s that shouldn't be hearing some of these things that have been said. So
I agree with you on that. All right,
that's a take.
Well, you want to sign off?
Sanket, am I signing off? Another episode of To Be Fair. We'll probably not. Maybe see you next time.
All right. See you guys.
Oh god, I'm so fucking hot.